What's going on, YouTube? Cloverbuzz here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we are going to do our beginning Regulation I dual restricted tier list. But this restricted tier list video is going to be different than some of our others because I am not by myself today. I am joined by another VGC player. We got Darsh Patel here on the channel with us. So Darsh, would you like to say hello to our viewers and tell us a little bit about your VGC background?
Definitely. Well, Clover Bells, thank you for having me, brother. I really appreciate it. This is also my very first VGC tier list, and I have some opinions to share, but thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. Been playing VGC for a while now. I also make content on Dark Type Darsh is my YouTube channel, but love the game. Been playing this for a long time. And yeah, I really started playing in that COVID time, but I was really, really bad. Like, I was not a great player, but I had to learn somehow. And fast forward to now, I took a break and I came back, and it's crazy. I've made 2 top 8s in my last 3 regionals, and out of nowhere, I'm now in this contention for the World Championships, which is absolutely insane. I love this game. I love competing. I love being confident, and I love teaching people how to do better. So I thought reaching out to you and setting this up was awesome, and then it really worked out perfectly because in your last video, you mentioned how you liked my team, and we were going to cook something up. So yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be here. Absolutely love this game. I'm actually so himothy at this stuff too, bro. I love it. I'm a baller. And yeah, man, this tier list hopefully can make some people have some matchups with McFree when they cook it up themselves, man. So it's awesome, bro.
Absolutely. Yeah, we welcome in. And, guys, if you don't know Darsh, again, the recent Milwaukee Regionals, Darsh placed 7th within the top 8 there. So what better person to bring in than someone who has already played in the first actual Regulation I regional. So we thank you very much there. But before we even get into the tier list, let's just explain the tiers and what we've got here. So at the very top, we've got the S tier. This is what we call the meta-defining tier. These are the best dual restricted pairs. And again, all of this is based on data and, the tournament results as of, right now. It is early format, but we still have information to go by and results to look at. So this is what we call, again, like I said, best of the best. Then after that, you've got the A tier. These are strong and consistent options. You'll run into these fairly often. Maybe not as, meta defining as the S tier, but these are like really, really solid restricted pairs. Then after that, we've got the B tier, which we decided to split up into 2 ideas. One is the high B tier. Then after that is the low B tier. But either way, these are good restricted pairs. They're still very much viable. If you had to play a regional, you'll probably run into this at least maybe once. And then after that, we've got the C tier, which we always refer to on this channel as the niche tier, which means very, very specific, very, just doing one type of idea or one type of job. And, that's really all there is to it. Now, again, we always say C tier doesn't mean bad. You can win a tournament with C tier Pokemon because we call these role players, okay, where they just have one job and one job only, and that's all you need to do. But as far as like a restricted pair, it gets a little bit tricky. But at the very least, these are guys that are not as good as the B tier. Maybe, they suffer from bad typing a little bit. Their stats aren't so great, the coverage. But either way, you can still do something with these C tier restricted pairs. And then after that, we've got the D tier, which we always call the don't use tier. Now, of course, we're not going to tell you not to use it, but just based off of what we've seen right now in the meta, these are guys that are just not going to be very competitive as opposed to some of the other options. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So without further ado, let's just go into our first restricted pair here. All right, we're off to a hot start here. So our first restricted pair is Calyrex Ice Rider and the Dialga Origin. So Darsh, what are you thinking here? Have you run into this restricted pair?
Yeah, so I have not ran into that yet. I think, maybe half of this is good. I don't know too much about Dialga Origin other than its use of like telepathy as an ability. Right. I've seen interesting things with it. I think it's telepathy. I don't even know. I think it's probably trash, but I'm curious to hear what you think.
Yeah, besides like telepathy stuff, like Dialga, you can do something with like Incin, Amoonguss, Ursaluna. But at that point, I think you have like better options if you're just going to do something like that. Like Lunala looks pretty better in something like that. But, I think the fact that you have to commit an item to it, just makes it, seem a little right? Because I'd rather put an item that I know I want to use like on some of my other restricteds. So even like historically, like the other Pokemon that like require an item haven't performed as well. But at the very least, I think there's just better partners for Calyrex Ice Rider, in my opinion. Would you say
Yeah,
so?
yeah, definitely. I think there's almost all of them might be better than that one.
All right. Where would you say? Well, we're gonna dump this into the don't use tier.
Yeah, let's dump it. D for Dialga, D for the dump. Let's send it
Oh
over
my
there.
goodness. All right. Yeah. And then speaking of that one, how about like regular Dialga? At least now you get to put an item. But is this any better than Dialga Origin?
Put him right next to his boy down there in D tier. I think, hey, if someone can use it and do a good job, that's great. I just think, that is that's the kind of, I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I think if you want like another special attacker, I think we've got much better options than Dialga. Now, if this was Dynamax, okay, that's a different story because you got Max Steel Spike, Max Quake, okay.
Yeah. Max
Now,
Worm, you can do a lot of fun stuff.
yeah, Dialga is really good and fun to use in the Dynamax era, but this is not Dynamax, so.
In fact, my first ever regional I went to was Salt Lake in 2021, or I forget what year it was. And my very first regional I pulled up with Dialga. So it holds a special place in my heart. My first regional, it was there.
Oh man, well, unfortunately, this is a different time. All right, all right, but moving on here. How about this one? We've got Groudon and Calyrex Ice Rider.
Yeah, so I'm curious to hear what you think, but I don't really think it's great. However, like I don't think it's as bad as the other two. I'm thinking like C or high D. I think maybe there could be some cool trick room niches here because they're both really bulky. They're both pretty strong, but the problem is they're both physical attackers, so I think it limits them a little bit because Incineroar could have a good time with those guys. Um, I mean, I'm thinking maybe C if you could maybe create a creative trick room Sun team,
Yes.
but again, very niche. I'm not gonna say don't use it, so I'd probably go with C in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, like I can find some use with something like this. Like you mentioned like the Sun team, so like you could still like slap on Raging Bolt here, in my opinion. Yeah, and then now you got like Bolt Beam coverage. So I guess there's that. And then you're a ground type. You have some ideas into Miraidon, because again, you can't really hit you all that well with the electric typing there. And then you have an Ice Rider for a Miraidon matchup. So this is definitely like an improvement at the very least from like Dialga Origins. And then you just slap on like, maybe an Ogerpon here and maybe like a Flutter Mane or a Chiyu or whatnot. But like some other redirector and a Trick Room setter, I guess, could do something. And then Groudon kind of likes Trick Room just because, it's slow. It's not that slow, but at least you're slower than Lunala. And then you can run some gimmick move like Shadow Claw and just to like
here, right? That's the definition of niche, right? So
yeah. So I'm gonna put that right here as you say here. All right, now this one, I know you played now this one is actually like, in my opinion, one of the rising pairs. We saw a lot of this in Milwaukee. So let me hear what you got to say about Ice Rider Koraidon here.
Yeah, so I actually played against this twice. When I was 4-1 in my round 6 against my new friend, actually, Dominic Vogel. If you watched my vlog, I was talking to him and we actually became close friends for the rest of the tournament. And then his team was actually leaked to another group of friends. And I played someone from that group in top 32. And his name was Kalen Brown. Really nice guy. I'm cool with him as well. And the team is strong. The team is definitely good. I don't think it was an expected pairing, going into this event. But I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a very underexplored team. It's a good core. It enables a lot of things and helps each other with their weaknesses. Like for example, a team like Miraidon that could maybe has a hard time with this. It's a very good Miraidon counter. It also does just so much damage. It's another speed sandwich, right? With really fast and really slow. The teams I played against was Calyrex, Koraidon, Iron Hands, Brute Bonnet, Flutter Mane, and I believe it was Chiyu. Yeah. That was the team that I played against. Only difference was that it was Iron Hands over Raging Bolt, and it was really, really strong. I did, for me, it was barbecue chicken. It was really easy. I beat it both times, but I think this team is really, really good, and I have to give it respect because I think it's going to be a pairing where it's going to see a lot going forward. So in my opinion, looking at this tier list, like I think it's at least B. I could even make an argument for A because this team was represented very well in day two. I know a lot of players were practicing with it, so I think I don't know. The team
Yeah.
works out very well because you have this Trick Room mode with Iron Hands, Calyrex, Brute Bonnet, but you also have this Go mode with Koraidon, Chi-Yu, Fluttermane, with redirection, with Fake Out, with speed control, with
Exactly.
weather abuse. It has everything. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, there was like more than one variation of this. Like I've even seen something like the Ogre Pond Cornerstone over here, and that gives you a
Yeah,
nice decent rock coverage into like some of these Ho-Oh teams running around. I've seen some stuff with like Incineroar over the Chi-Yu slot, with the Mungus.
yeah,
There's lots of different ideas, with this core. A lot of the staples kind of just interchange, but at least more or less the core 3 or 4 can stay the same. Like a lot of these Koraidon cores are the same. Like you'll run like Chi-Yu, Fluttermane, Brute Bonnet. Maybe you have an Indeedee over there. But I think it works relatively well. It's either like this or Lunala. So like some aggressive Trick Room setter. You
I
do
mean,
have 2 special attackers, so one of them is gonna have to get the clear amulet. This one probably has the life orb, I would say, yeah.
yeah, I've played all Life Orb. It's a really good pair. I think it just does a lot of damage, has a lot of control, and you really have to play aggressive or know your game plan into that to do well. I would put it in A. Honestly, I think it has a lot of my respect. But I'm curious to hear what you think.
Yeah, I'm struggling to decide between like the A and B tier. It had some really, really strong results in Milwaukee. It wasn't just one guy. It was actually several. It was like maybe 6, 7, 8 guys. I think this is gonna move forward and still be that way. I'm gonna put
Yeah,
it in the A tier for now.
love love it. I think as long as you're not playing against me, you're probably doing a good job with that pairing. So.
All right. How about the another? We got a bunch of Ice Rider pairs over here. How about this one?
Yeah,
You got Kyogre over here.
Oh, so fun story about this. If you're a big VGC fan, I'm sure you're watching this channel. And the recent meta development, I've been practicing a lot of Pokemon Showdown recently, and this pairing has been popping up more than I've ever seen. In this last honestly couple of days. I think it's very underexplored. I've seen versions with like a very Trick Room focused team. I've seen it with, Amoonguss, Incineroar, Ursaluna Guts, the Guts Bear. I've seen that version. I've seen it with a more balanced, Urshifu Water, Tornadus, Trick Room Iron Hands team. I think this team is really underexplored. I'm not gonna say it's good yet because I don't know if it's good yet. In theory, it's good, right? Because the rain protects Calyrex from fire type moves like
Hmm.
Koraidon. You can play slow Kyogre and work in Trick Room. They work very well for each other, right? Because grass types into Kyogre and Rillaboom and Amoonguss, they get bodied by Calyrex Ice. So
Yeah.
I love this idea in theory. The problem is that I don't know how consistent this team can be long term. I think it could be a good pick for the tournament, if the timing is right. So in my opinion, I would personally put it in the B tier, as of right now. But I'm curious to hear what your thoughts with the archetype are.
Yeah. Somewhere in like the B tier, maybe like either. I don't think I can put it in high B tier just yet. I like Calyrex. I think Ogre could do something here. Like you could play this like a very slow Kyogre more or less. I've seen some of these in Milwaukee, but these are like different variations. I think one of them had like what's the other dark flying type there? The Iron Jugulus.
Yes,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, but I think you can play like slow Ogre, which means you get like even more bulk. And then just like Amoonguss, Calyrex is just always pretty good. And then you add Landers here with Kyogre. And now this gives you that ground typing into the hands Miraidon stuff. And then Roaring Moon gives you something for like Lunala, Calyrex ideas. So I think
yes.
it could be like kind of cute, something like this, like in terms of a core here. I don't think it's gonna be as good as like some of these A guys, but I think it could be like either high B or low B. Why don't you make the call here?
Yeah, I say for now, you know what? I'm comfortable putting it in. Ooh, let's put it in. I think it's Kyogre's best partner. I think it's actually better than Zacian. I think Zacian's a little bit of a gimmicky mon, in my opinion. I'm okay with high B for now. We can move it down later if you want to do that.
Yeah, we'll recap the list at the end. I think like somewhere within this B tier is correct here.
It'll be it would be right there.
All right, now how about this one? Here we go. We got Lunala Calyrex Ice Rider.
Yeah, this makes me want to throw up in my mouth because this is for all the brain, I guess, what's the word? Like, you don't have to really use your brain and click Trick Room with this kind of pairing. This is one of those Indeedee, put
Some
Ndidi
Luna
on there,
stuff.
put all that kind of stuff. And it's just hard trick room. This is what I think of when I see the team. But some players are really good with hard trick room. Like, in my opinion, that's probably the best pairing. My friend Jin Fury actually day two, but he used Dawn Wings
Yeah,
over
use Dawn
Lunala.
Wings, right? And then like
Yeah,
decorate stuff.
yep,
Yeah, I
without
saw.
cream and whatnot. So I don't know. I think it's probably the best hard trick room pairing. The problem is it's just so weak to dark types. It's just so weak to dark types.
And
Um, and now every team has Grimmsnarl, which really slows down that damage output right away. I don't know. I think it's probably the best hard trick room pairing, but I just have a hard time respecting hard trick room, especially when in Milwaukee there was no hard trick room teams that really performed well outside of Jin's. So yeah, this is exactly the comp. And maybe there's like a Raging Bolt or an Urshifu Dark on here, right?
mhm.
That's probably what it looks like.
Yeah, something like this, right? You just have like Indeedee, Lunala, Calyrex, Torkoal in the back, and then the Smeargle going for like these decorate plays. And then this last mon, it could be like whatever. You could be like another Urshifu, Amoonguss, or Ogerpon for that matter. But I think this
Yeah.
is like the key core here. So I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cute. I still think like again, this is like somewhere in the lower parts. Definitely not like D tier. Definitely maybe I don't know. Like if it's like really really hard trick room,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe low B would be all right, or somewhere between low B or C.
Yeah, I think that Trick Room always has to get at least a little respect because there's always one guy every other regional who makes like finals or top 8
Mhm.
with this kind of like hard Trick Room team. That's the only Trick Room pairing I'm gonna have any respect for, to be honest. That's hard Trick Room. So low B feels like we can't hate on him too much, right? I think
Uh,
low B feels like a good spot.
yeah, and then that being said, here, I'll skip this one for now. But how about like the Dawn Wings pairing for with Calyrex? So the other Lunala, like you said, we did see Jin do get that result there. So even then, like, is Dawn Wings better than Lunala with this kind of team comp here?
I love Jin, but I think he's maybe the only guy who could
Yeah.
probably somehow figure this out. He's only played hard trick room for like 4 years now. In in my opinion, it's worse than Lunala. The ability is much worse. The typing is the same. I don't see the value. Yeah, I think it's like right there. It's like very niche. Clearly, you can make day two with it. So I'm not gonna put it in D, but it's in that. It's the definition of niche in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like the Lunala is the improvement, but not like that much improvement. But hey, we love Mr. Jin. So shout outs to Jin at 8-3 with Dawn Wings. We gotta respect it. This is why we put it in at
He
least the
was
C
playing
tier.
he was playing hard trick room on hard mode. He put the hard into hard trick room on that
Yeah,
one.
and this is an artiste that he's played for years. And it's all I think it's the only thing he plays. So this
Oh,
is
yeah.
right up his alley. If your name's not Jin, then more or less you're gonna you'll win some games. But yeah, that's pretty much it here.
Jin put it in the bin.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Now we've got one of the major players. We got Miraidon, Calyrex Ice Rider.
Hey, put it in the S tier. I don't.
Oh
We
yeah.
put it in now. Put it in there right now.
Oh,
This
absolutely.
pairing. This is the best partner for either of these Pokemon, in my opinion. This is the best
My favorite.
duo. This is my favorite duo in the entire. It's a speed sandwich. You have the fastest Pokemon in the format with this one of the slowest Pokemon in the format. You control the speed tiers. You have terrain control. You have spread damage, single target. Like this is the best pairing in my opinion in the format. I think that it has everything from offensive coverage to defensive coverage to speed control to terrain. It has everything you need, and I personally use this duo to get top 8, and I'm using this duo for the rest of the format. And if I hopefully qualify for the World Championships, I will be bringing this duo. I think the partners that it enables are perfect. You can get Iron Hands with terrain from Miraidon with Fake Out, but also in Trick Room with Calyrex. Like for a Giraffe, we've seen on the Arubega team, Grimmsnarl is my GOAT, and it fits perfectly for damage reduction. This is the best pairing. It gets the best partners. It just does everything. And I absolutely think it's the best pairing in the format.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like we like this pairing too. And in fact, you may not know this, but there was a day 2 Clover Bells team there, and in Milwaukee, and this was the not this exact 6, but one of our teams, someone picked it up. It was their first regional. and he watched one of our team building videos, and he took one of our team compositions, and he used our spreads, and then he got into day 2 6-2, and then there was the player difference in day 2, and then he finished with 6-5, and then I was like, hey, look, you got day 2 in your first event ever. So
that is amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, that just goes to show you like how strong the team was. I believe I had the he took the Whimsicott variant, and that was fine. So you have a couple modes here, but like you said, again, like I like this pairing a lot. I think it's very, very good. And moving forward, I think it's gonna do very well still.
And in Milwaukee had it in finals. I had it in top 8. There was Paul Chua as well in top 8. This is a really good pairing, and yeah, I think that if you don't respect it, you will get blown out by it every single time. And I think that it just has everything you want.
Yeah, and then some of these comps are also like running like the Volcarona stuff, another very good Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
The bug typing quite nice, and some of the support moves that it gets.
You can go support, you can go setup. It's so flexible. I use Volcarona myself, and I had the Quiver Dance variant, and then yeah, it was fantastic. It comes up a lot. It helps you with Zamazenta, which people can use to slow down your Dazzling Gleams or your Glacial Lances. And if set up correctly, Volcarona can just go to town.
Yeah, like if I had to like use a Volcon, I would just use this archetype. So like I don't want to run like double fire with Ogerpon Heartflame. I guess you could, but I like at least the cornerstone in this. Give me another redirector here. So that's just my take. You could put something else here.
Focus Sash. Yeah, for me, I had Urshifu over there, and then I had Grimmsnarl over the Giraffe. So that was my top 8. But I love this pairing. I could talk about it for hours.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got some other pairs looking kind of hot here, I guess. How about Palkia Origin Calyrex?
It should join its other Origin buddy down there.
Yeah, I think so. In theory, these Origin mons, they look pretty cool in their stats, but then just like you use it, oh my goodness, you're still missing, spatial rends and whatnot. Hydro pumps are missing. And I guess you can probably put the Palkia one. Well, the Palkia one, like the regular Palkia one, at least you can get an item. I've seen some people try and use this, like our good buddy Tapo Wapo, who's
seen him as well, hard trick room as well.
Yeah, another hard trick room enthusiast. If your name's not Tapo, I still don't use it. But even then, like, man, if I had to like use Hydro Pumps and Spatial Rends and whatnot, just give me something else. I don't know, but. If this was Dynamax, different story,
Agreed. Palkia Calyrex was the duo in Dynamax.
Oh, I love that. I think in my very first tournament ever, like in person, I brought Calyrex Ice Rider Palkia duo. It was great. I had a good time using those two in a dual restricted. How about this one? We got Zacian, the Sword Dog.
Yeah, I think this is really bad. I think that they don't really have a lot of synergy together. I think that they're both weak to ground types. Koraidon just looks at this team and licks its lips. I think that it's really not that strong. I think that it's cool in theory, but Zacian has a lot of better partners, and Calyrex Ice is not one of them. I really don't believe in this archetype much at all because they're both weak to fire. They are, and half the teams running on our Sun teams right now. Lunala also is a really good team for this. I think that, yeah, you need rain, but having to have Pelipper consistently just to enable this team is maybe I'm curious to hear what you think, but I really do not think that this pairing will ever have a good finish.
Well, maybe at the regional level, but believe it or not, if you take a look at some of the Limitless Tour results, do you know the British player Alt Kyle?
Do not know him by that name, but I'm curious to hear what you have to
share. Okay. So Alt Kyle has this variant. So he has these guys, but instead of the Amoonguss, like what we put out as a rental, he's got the Ogerpon Cornerstone. This guy has been finishing first place in some like really, really big Limitless Tours, and like also like just high placements overall. So like he's like the only guy that's like using this duo and like using like the Pelipper Earth stuff with Zacian Calyrex. So like this can work, right? Just because, okay, I've got a redirector here with an Ogerpon, I have weather control with Ursh and Pelipper, and then I have Bolt Beam coverage with Calyrex and whatnot. So like it can work, I don't think it's like amazing, but like you said, the two physical attackers, Miraidon looks still kind of hard. I don't know if I would put it as bad as these guys though.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that maybe we could squeeze that in that C tier. Because maybe again, if you have that niche and you know how to play the team, like more credit to you. I think that I'm sure I'm not gonna say it's one of the worst pairings ever. I'm not gonna say that, but you've seen it do well, and I trust you that you've seen that. So I think with Rain it might be able to do pretty well. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think C is as good as I'm gonna put it at the given moment here. But how about the other partner here? So like, let's say I take out Zacian, and now I can put Zamazenta over here. Does that change things in your sense? How about I put a Landorus here?
Yeah, I'm looking at this pairing right now, and again, I see the same problems that I see, but I think Zamazenta is more supportive and protects you from that Calyrex Shadow, which I do like. I definitely think it's better than Zacian in every way possible, in every world possible. It's better. Do I think it's viable to bring to a tournament? Maybe. I think that, if you're a good balanced player, you probably could do some damage with this duo if you really know the team and know how to play it well. I think Pelipper again is a natural great partner. I think those first four slots, if you put Zamas into that fourth spot, Zama, Urshifu, Pelipper, Calyrex, I think that's a really, decent core for what this pairing looks like. Again, call me a hater, but I'm gonna call it niche. I'm not gonna call it D tier, but it can maybe be high C tier because I think it could probably do some good work. It's pretty supportive. I just think Zamazenta's already almost on fraud watch after Milwaukee, and I don't think that Cali Ice is the partner that takes it out of there.
Yeah, we did see like a result in Milwaukee that maybe you saw Daniel Yu like on stream or whatnot, or just overall like he had an 8-3 placement with this I think this exact six, believe it or not.
Wow.
And
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it was yeah. So like there was a placement in Milwaukee from Daniel with this duo, and I think Joey Woodring, another VGC player who has had some success in other regionals, had also brought, but he only had a 5-3 finish, but still one
Maybe
more into day two.
I mean they both finished in finals. I think they're team building partners, so maybe to the top of C or the lower end of B. I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear what you think.
Yeah, I think C is correct here. I think Zam is pretty good, but maybe I don't know if I would use both together. I think I still like just a special attacking partner with Ice Rider in my opinion. But these are all the Ice Riders. Okay, so we got through a lot of them.
Yeah,
And there's obviously more, right? But no one's gonna use like some of the other ones. So just keep it at this for now. Like, yes, we didn't put like Necrozma, Duskbane, or maybe like the Calyx, the Rayquaza for that matter. But I don't know if we want to put that just yet. And I don't know if I don't know if I can put the missing pairs that we have on this. I think this is just like what we have right now, and it's like okay. Shoutouts to Ryan, by the way, Sableye VGC, for even making this tier list. We had to like add like a couple pairs that were missing from the original list, but this one I think is suitable for where we're at right now. If more meta development happens and we need to add more pairs, then we'll do that. But right now, I think this is where we're at. So clearly, Darsh, we've got Miraidon Calyrex in the S tier, and then the Koraidon Calyrex right behind it in the A. And what we're saying right now is these are the two best.
Yeah, I think so far,
Well.
I think, those are the two that
For Ice
I
Rider
have
teams.
well, yeah, for Ice Rider. I think that when it comes to Ice Rider, it really wants to have one of those top two as its partner. I think that, I haven't seen Ice Rider and CSR on here. Don't know if we're gonna see that with
Wait, we
Cali.
can't do that.
Oh yeah, I'm stupid. See, there you go.
You can, if only, right? We can may have the two Calyrexes together. Yeah,
There you go. So,
Thank,
yeah, I think that this is probably the best. I think there's a big drop off after that top three. I think now we could see a sneaky Kyogre performance. It's asking for one. Maybe that sneaky Trick Room Lunala version, but I definitely think that Miraidon and Koraidon are their best partners without a doubt.
yeah. All right. Let's go into like some other pairings here. So how about Calyrex Shadow Rider idea? So how about this one? So Koraidon Calyrex Shadow Rider.
Fun fact: to make it into top cut, I had to play somebody in the 8-2 table using Koraidon Calyrex Shadow Rider.
Mm.
And game one, I got absolutely destroyed. It is just does so much damage. The problem is, once Trick Room goes up, these two have a really hard time staying on the battlefield. Um, the team he had was Koraidon, Calyrex Shadow. He had, I believe, Chiyu. He always
Yeah.
had Chiyu and Koraidon.
You always want Chio as the third one. That's like typical building right here.
Yeah, I believe he also had. I don't want to make a mistake here. Let me actually pull up my regional run for you real quick. But I'm curious to hear what you think while I'm pulling that up.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just a matter of like, okay, look, another ghost type with a strong fighting type. There, you're using the fighting type to help you against the dark types that you're weak against. Hence the reason why Lunala also works. If in fact it probably works out better, but this one still works. It just a little bit more hyper offensive. So like these variants, you'll run something like Whimsicott or even something like the what was that
My
thing
partner
called?
actually had Whimsicott, Brute Bond, and Iron Hands. That was his.
Yeah.
That was the picks that he had on his team. Yeah. Shout out Nicholas. He had
Oh,
Calyrex
Nick.
Shadow, Koraidon, Chiyu, Brute Bonnet, Whimsicott, and Iron Hands. And yeah, I think that this team is very strong. It does a lot of damage. I think it relies on Brute Bonnet and Iron Hands to help you with that with the Trick Room version. Um, but yeah, a lot of damage, a lot very fast. And I think that as long as you can keep the pressure on, you'll be in a really good spot. The way the team plays, from my experience, is that you want to take a KO early. If you can take a KO early or find yourself, you know, having that pressure and having them in those weird pin situations, you're going to do very well. And this team creates a lot of those matchups. So, yeah, I think this is a very underrated pairing. I don't know how elite of a pairing it is, but there's some respect that has to be put on this pairing's name.
I think B tier is correct here somewhere. I think it's better than Lunala. Is it better than Lunala Calyrex Ice Rider? Is it as good? I think it's as good as like Kyogre.
I would say it might be better than that. I think it might be better than the Kyogre version.
Ooh,
Only because we're still yet to see a Kyogre Cali Ice really
that's true.
perform so well. And as you know, I had a really great run, and this team, it took me to game 3 where it was really intense, and the team was strong. So I think that it's a pretty good pairing for sure.
I think these four are like good starting points for this duo. And then from there, you can vary things up a little bit. Like you said, you can do the Iron Hands idea. Remember James Evans at 10-3, highest result there. I think he was running like the wheezing.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, that was the main difference with his squad there. And then some electric type here. I think Raging Bolt can also come onto these teams. Just exactly what James was running. If you don't want the wheezing, then I think we also saw like just like Tailwind stuff or like another Ogre Pond here, Redirector. But I think these five can definitely do something. Maybe you can just slap on like a Ditto or an Indeedee here. But I think either way, something like this can definitely make some noise. Oh, I put the I meant to
I
put
think even Wolf. I think Wolf was running this duo, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he was actually, but he was using like Instant
Oh,
Amoonguss.
he actually had Lunala. Okay, he had
Oh, no,
Lunala.
never mind. Okay, all right, I stand corrected. But if I had to use this is what I would do. Otherwise, you could do like the Tailwind version and just go like Tornadus, and start doing expanding force stuff with Calyrex and Indeedee here. And I think this works decently.
Yeah, as long as you can deny or play within Trick Room, if you can find your lines, it's a good. I think the pairing just applies so much pressure. It's in that high B tier without a doubt.
Okay. All right. How about this one? How about the other Sun partner, Calyrex and Groudon?
Yeah, not the biggest fan here. I don't really see it. I think yeah, I don't really buy the hype here. I don't know if it did well. I don't think I've ever seen it do well. Um yeah, I don't putting it with the Dialgas and
Nah. I
Palkia.
think you gotta just put it in the C tier.
Yeah, I probably would agree with you. I think that I'd probably put it over the Dawn Wings Cali Ice. I think again, if played well, the partners have been used to win in the Dynamax format with James Evans. He won with this pairing, I believe, in NAIC, or I think it was that pairing in NAIC a couple years back. So I think it's a niche team. This again, you still enable a lot of good partners like the Sun, Chi, all that stuff. So I'm comfortable putting them in the C tier.
Yeah, I can see like some ideas. Just again, if you take out this and you put in a Groudon here, like you still have Calyrex, Groudon and Chi, right? That's still gonna be like okay. And then after that, like what do you do? Like you can still add Tornadus, Indeedee, and Brute Bonnet here. You can even do like Venusaur shenanigans, I guess, right? Venusaur, Venudon is back, right? I'm not being serious here, but I've seen some idea like this, right? You can do this.
Yeah, I'm never gonna hate an idea until I see it. And Venusaur Groudon with Calyrex Shadow does not sound like the worst idea I've heard. I think like again, using the hard part is the RNG, like missing your Precipice Blades, missing your Sleep Powders, missing your Heat Waves, missing your Bleak Wind Storms. It does sound tough to use, but with a little bit of luck on your side and some good matchups, this team can do pretty well.
Yeah, I think there's some room for exploration. You know, Groudon just in general, like Koraidon has just emerged as the better partner at the moment for Sun stuff. But you know, maybe one day Groudon will get to come out and play. You know, Dynamax was really good for it, of course, but you know, Max
Sure.
Quake was nice. But other than that, missing has been a problem. All right, how about this one? Shadow Rider and Kyogre, a little bit more hyper offensive.
Yeah, I think that this team has underexplored potential. I think the amount of damage that this team can do in Tailwind with like
Yeah.
Urshifu is probably just insane. Um, it applies a lot of pressure. The type synergy works out very well. I don't know how good it can actually perform in, like a typical tournament, but I would say if a good player decides to bring this and can figure this pairing out, it can really mess some people up. And I think that it's an underexplored archetype, just like Kyogre and Calyrex Ice. And I think it's a pairing that, we don't know how good it can be. It feels like something can be in the works here. I'm not gonna sleep on this duo.
Yeah, I think something can do well here. You know, it does need like more exploration. Like, of course, you still have like Tornadus, Kyogre, Urshifu stuff. That's like okay. You don't even have to play like the Tailwind version here. Indeedee's not bad for terrain here. You did see like a couple results there in Milwaukee, by the way. You saw Ben do well with this pairing, but not the Tailwind idea. It was the Dondozo Weezing stuff, right? And not too many people are respecting Dozer right now, so no surprise that he was able to do well there. And then you saw Sam Platt. I don't think it was Tornadus. I think it was like Whimsicott. So I think it was just something like this with like Calyrex, Kyogre, Whimsicott, and then there was an Indeedee there. I don't remember if there was an Urshifu or whatnot, but at least this, 8-3 with these four. Okay, I see it. I don't remember what else they had, but there were at least two placements for it.
Yeah, Ben Grismer got top 64 with this duo, and he was actually the player that knocked me out in Atlanta Regionals a couple of weeks ago. He's a really great player, Chef VGC. He's a great player. Yeah, the pairing is a strong one. I don't know. Again, I think it's underexplored, but those players who live in that hyper offensive world, this is a team they definitely should try because we don't know how good it can be yet. So if someone can crack the code, it can take a whole tournament by surprise.
Yeah, I think maybe even Rory Moon could come onto teams like this and just give like a little bit more tailwind support and just go from there. But we'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, where are we putting it?
I actually like it in that. I'm trying to think. Maybe that low B, but above the Lunala Ice Rider. I think that the Kyogre teams are very similar, right? So it feels weird having one in high B, low B. I think we probably want them to be in the same tier because they are very similar in terms of how. I might want to switch them actually.
Well, are they the same? Like this one's like at least the Ice Rider. This one's a slow physical attacker. This one is a fast special attacker.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I like how it's set up right now.
Yeah, I'll keep it in low B. Like now, that being said, this has had two results already, right? You know, at least from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one, I don't think it had. I think it just had one, right, from player named Andrew. Yeah, Andrew, right, 7-4 there. So you know, it's kind of tough. I think you are correct. Like they do belong within the same tier. Um, man, I'm not really sure at the moment. I think there's potential. I think the Ice Rider is just a little bit better, just because
Have more
one physical. Yeah,
Yes.
I think yeah, I'm gonna keep it like this for now. Maybe if I think more, maybe we can like do a little bit of a change there. But for right now, this is where I see the these two pairings.
I'm
All
a
right,
fan.
yeah. How about this one? All right, Miraidon, Calyrex Shadow Rider. Ooh,
Yeah, I'm looking at how people did with it so far, and I think, in theory, it's a good duo. Again, a lot of damage, hyper offense, click tailwind, click buttons, and just go. Like I'm looking here and I see, Rowan Hall got 41st with it. With the Whimsicott version with Iron Hands.
wow.
Iron Hands, Whimsicott for a draft, Chi-Yu.
Hmm.
I think that's the only placement I see of it. I don't see what I'm doing better than that. I just think it does a lot of damage very quickly. And I think, it's probably a better version of the Kyogre Calyrex because it does a lot more damage, it's a lot more spread. The typing is also very good, and they're also both faster. So, yeah, I would say I like the duo. Personally, I don't know if I respect it enough to like prepare super hard for it as a pairing, but it's the two arguable strongest restricted Pokemon on the same team, right? Like I think that they're a pretty good duo. I don't know about great, but they're both pretty good.
Yeah, it feels like this wants to be an Ice Rider, in all honesty, right? But you
If
know,
that was this team looks pretty good.
yeah. All right, but I think we can definitely put it like somewhere above some of these other guys. Maybe I think this can definitely go in like high B. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in the middle of the Koraidon version, I think that it's probably right there. I think again like that physical special combo of CSR and Koraidon is a little bit better than the Miraidon version. Then a couple of snarls or struggle bugs, and that pairing's really struggling, right? So even like one light screen and you're kind of behind. So I think that that's a pretty good place to put it. Again, we've seen it do well with Rowan's team, so I'm comfortable putting it there for now.
Yeah. All right. What about Calyrex Shadow Rider Rayquaza? Ooh, Rayquaza.
This team just screams Chin Pao extreme speed with
Yeah,
Rayquaza.
you that's really what you're gonna run with in all honesty, right? Just you add Rayquaza here, and then you're definitely gonna bring a Chen here,
Yeah,
and
Chin
then
Pao,
from here, where do you want to take the team, right?
yeah, exactly. And I do not think this is good. Like this is you're it's not good. I think it's a don't use if I'm
Yeah,
being honest.
I'm not gonna argue with that there. Yeah, we're gonna uh add this to the Dialga buddy, the Origin pals, right here, the space and
Yep.
time buddies. Well, maybe one day Rayquaza can come out. Hey, if the Megas come back, I think it'll.
Yeah, hey, that could change the whole game on its head.
Oh my goodness! I mean, wait till Gen 10.
Oh my
Um,
god, I'm not ready for it
yeah,
yet.
with the mix of Megas and what you call it, that are we getting Dynamax with it? Or I know there's terrestrialization, but
I honestly have no idea. Like I've been so focused on this. Even Champions, I couldn't tell you a single
yeah,
thing about Champions
nothing.
personally.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on to the next pair. Okay, this one has had some results for sure. The Shadow Rider Terapagos pairing. Kind of boring
Yeah,
though.
yeah, I think that when I look at this pairing, it is a pairing made for good players. I don't think you know, I'm not going to say an average player can pilot this well, but I think it takes is a high skill cap to this team.
Mhm.
There's a lot of positioning, a lot of knowing your matchups, being in the right spot, playing slowly. Um, a couple of top players have used this pairing to do well. I know Jonathan Quinones got top 8 with this. I know Lorsey started off 7-1. Don't know how he finished, but I know he played this team. I know a lot of top balance players on ladder. I was actually a top 10 on ladder when I was practicing recently, and I've been running into this team nonstop. And I think that this team is very good. I think that meta defining, we might see it in that S tier, especially after the next European regional, because this just screams European regional team.
Oh, they love it
Um,
there.
never seen one. Um,
Yeah,
but meta,
like this is like the main build. Like you'll see like double fake out and redirection, or one fake out and
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
some fake out and redirections is gonna be here. You'll maybe even see like Grimstone screens or whatnot, but some way to set up your calm minds, right? And then this is like the disable encore stuff, just to lock things, make sure that no body presses come out or collision courses, and once you're locked in, you have to switch out. That just gives you more space to set up these calm minds, right?
Definitely. A lot of top players are running Pollen Puff too on their Calyrex or
Yeah.
Will-O-Wisp. It's always like some kind of support move. The Terapagos right now are pretty standard with Earth Power, Terra Starstorm, and Calm Mind. I think it's S or A. I'm curious to hear what you think. In my opinion, I think it's meta defining for my I didn't play it in Milwaukee, but I think my Volcarona have struggle bug purely for this matchup because I think it demands respect. And if you let that Terapagos get going, it's gonna snowball. It's at least in the A tier, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I
It's A or S.
Yeah, I'm also like trying to figure out here. Like, yes, it's very very good. It's very boring to me, but it's good. Can I put it in the S tier?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
like
comfortable.
yeah.
I think
I
it's a
mean, it had like some good results, like especially like from like the online tours for sure. It did have some results in Milwaukee. It wasn't just John Quinones. There, I did see this pairing, a couple times, and that also got like 9 threes, 8 threes. So it's definitely at least A tier. I don't know if it's S tier yet, and if it is, probably like low S.
it's
But
either it's either low S or high A for sure.
yeah,
I think I think it's meta defining because if you're not prepared for it, you're gonna lose to it. And
it's the main reason. Like, okay, so I put out a Ho-Oh rental, right? And our one of our viewers, Miguel VGC, he used that and he won a tournament just last night with it. Like the SoCal, uh, it was a SoCal tournament. And the main difference between like my Ho-Oh Miraidon squad and someone like Audie's is that I have the Urshifu, the Dark Urshifu over the ground slot strictly because of this pairing, right? The Dark Urshi does very well into like Lunala, the Calyrex, the Pago stuff versus like the Ursaluna, which just gives you a little bit better of a tricker matchup and maybe a little bit better like Miraidon stuff. But Dark Urshi, it was so good into like these two when I was testing it. So I put that last slot for it with the Ho-Oh Miraidon screens, and it was like a game changer for it.
yeah, again,
But
I think it demands respect. So
yeah,
I'm very comfortable putting in S. I think that there's probably 3 or 4 archetypes that deserve to be there.
exactly.
And one of them is one of them.
Yeah, I always say that too. Like when we do these tier list videos, if you command respect when building, then you're in the S tier.
Definitely.
Like people plan for you for a reason, right? If they respect you, it means you're good, right? Just like
Yeah.
in sports, right? If people are talking about you, it means they're talking about you for a reason, right?
If you're,
You're
if you're
worth talking about.
if you're Dylan Brooks, no one's preparing for you. But if you're like, Mr. Tetakumpo, you're an S tier player. There's a difference. And I think that, when I look at this team, you're preparing for it a lot. And if another great cosign is if the top players are using it, and a lot of top players are using it. So it's in the S tier without a doubt.
Yeah. All right. How about a little blast from the past in Sword and Shield? How about Zacian and Calyrex Shadow Rider?
Oh my. Haven't seen this pairing. Also very hyper offensive. I don't really like it because the mirror just seems like playing another Calyrex Shadow just seems really tricky. Um, Also Koraidon could be tough for this kind of team. Also Trick Room again looks really rough. In my opinion, I'm just thinking C tier right away. Like I'm sure it has its niche somewhere. I'm not gonna say it's low B. I think low B you can bring to a regional. I don't think you can bring this to a regional.
Yeah, it's tough. Like you know what you're doing with like the Tailwind stuff here with Zacian Calyrex. Like we've seen this before, especially if it's like Whimsicott. I've seen like Reggie Drago on this pairing. Like, okay, sure, you could do it like that, or you could do like the Chien-Pao Ursh idea with Tailwind support. Like, okay, this works too, I guess, and then just add like a Mungus here.
I'm sure
Meh.
it's okay. I'm sure it's all right.
Yeah, it's by there's some ideas there, but okay, I'd rather play something else. How about this one? All right, here we go. How about the one that people were, they put it on the map like day one. The Shadow
Ooh,
Riders Zamazenta team.
It's on fraud watch right now too,
Yeah,
man.
fraud watch, right? Exactly.
I think that I I'm not comfortable putting it in S. I
No.
really am not comfortable putting it there. Um, I honestly I'm just trying to think of like how I feel about this as a duo, and I'm not the biggest fan. Like I'm gonna be honest. I think that this is the main team that we've seen. We've seen Shohei Kimura and other top
Mhm.
players online on Victory Road use this, and again. I prepared for this team quite a bit when I was preparing for my regional championships, but It really did not come up, and no one played it great. It barely had any usage, and I just don't think it's that strong, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, the Koraidon and Lunala teams have a very nice advantage into this. And, like even some of the Ho-Oh teams now are looking pretty good into this. I don't think it can go into the S tier at the moment, at least not this six. Maybe the duo itself might get there, but it's going to need like a little bit of a different build. But it's still getting results, just not like the results that we thought an S tier duo would get. I think you can definitely at least put it here in the A tier. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with the A tier. It's definitely deserves that respect for considering the presence that it's had in the online tournament space. Um, but yeah, it's just shocking to see how badly it performed. But we see top players win huge tournaments online with it. I'm sure it's due for a big tournament, especially in the European scene. So I'm very comfortable putting it in the A tier.
Yeah. All right. So we've got ideally the most common, or at least the most realistic Calyrex pairings right now. So right now we've got Miraidon Calyrex and we got Pagos CSR within the S tier, and then your A looks like Koraidon Calyrex and Zamazenta Shadow Rider, and those are your four best at this given moment.
Yeah, and honestly, I really like what we're seeing. I think that top 7 pairings really makes sense. This low, dude, I think we're cooking, yo. I really think we're making a great tier list right now. I think those are definitely the top 2 defining meta threats. A, I would feel comfortable bringing to a tournament. B, I would be okay using if I played it properly. And low B, it has its use cases. I think this is honestly a perfect tier list so far. I have nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, we're only halfway done with it. We still got another halfway to go
Let's
here.
let's
All right.
get it.
All right. So now we're gonna look at some other ideas here. How about the? Oh my goodness! I didn't even think this was a possible pairing. Koraidon and Groudon. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
That's
Okay, well,
that's CIR food, bro.
yeah. Put it next to Rayquaza down there. You got double sun. You got double sun. We don't need all that.
No, I don't think we even need to discuss that. All right, how about this one? This one I think could I think the keyword here is exploration. How about Ho-Oh Koraidon?
Is an interesting one, because I think both individual pieces have actually been playing, very well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I think they have a lot of good natural synergy, right? Like sun partners, the things that Koraidon are weak to, those fairy types, Ho eats that. Ho can also set up Tailwind and has a regenerator. The Koraidon can struggle to hit certain types, but that fire typing that doesn't want to terastallize, it now gets to preserve that Terra a lot more because of Hoa's existence. I like this pairing. I don't love it, but I think it could actually be decent. I think that it's better than most people think, and I think Hoa is shocking the world right now, and I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, Ho-Oh's like the hot new toy right now. I can't believe we're saying that, but yeah, but something like this, like I think you just always add Flutter Mane into something like this.
You have to.
Just
I think Flutter Mane's a great choice. I think like one of those like Iron Hands or Raging Bolts or Brute Bonnet or Ogre Pond even in this situation could be good.
yeah, and like in some fashion, at least you start with this three, and then from there maybe you could do like a Raging Bolt, Grimmsnarl stuff, but I think it just needs a little bit more exploration at some point. But you can definitely start something like with this four, in my opinion, something like this. Maybe you have the Brute Bonnet, as you say, or you do the Michael Zhang idea with Comfey, Rhydon, and Toxapex.
Yes, that was awesome. I'm gonna be honest. That team was awesome. I was dreading. I looked at it before day 2, and I said, if I have to play this team, I don't even know what I even do into this team.
No, I don't think anybody knows what they do into this.
I know. My friend Waleed helped me had to play against it, and he lost, but this team looks like hell to play against. He lost to Carson Khan for eventual top 4 player.
Yeah.
But this guy beat Lorsi is with that CSR, Pagos team. And I think that I'm looking at this team and don't know how it works at all. It's just Toxic Stall, basically. With its own unique versions. But I think this team is good. This pairing is good. This team is good. I don't recommend a new player. When you watch a video where they say, I don't recommend beginners try this at home. Don't try this at home. Don't try this at home.
You use like some other easier pairings. That don't hurt yourself trying to make Michael's team work. I think that's like a Michael thing. You know what I want to see in a regional? I mentioned this in my video. I want to see a Michael Zhang versus VJ Sood matchup. Like, bro, did you see what VJ brought into the tour?
Oh, I'm sure we're gonna get there.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah. VJ Sood is Ash Ketchum playing Pokemon. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
You know, he's going with plot armor. He's gonna do his own thing. The meta irrelevant. We love players like VJ bringing that creative side. Him, Jamie Boy, Michael Zhang. There's something going on upstairs, but I love it because it makes for some awesome Pokemon teams and some awesome entertainment.
Yeah, for sure. All right, where are we gonna put it? Koraidon Ho-Oh.
I'm thinking low B. I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
No, that's exactly where I was gonna put it. I think it's better than some of these C tier dudes. I don't think it's as good as like CSR, Koraidon, but definitely like at least within the low B. Just the tools, the photosynthesis mons, I think are just enough to bring it into that low B tier. But we'll see if anyone like explores further with something of those two there. All right, here we go. The hottest new duo right now, Miraidon Ho-Oh.
Love this duo. I was so close 3 days before this tournament, Milwaukee Regionals. I was gonna bring this duo. They have perfect synergy. Ground types, I got you. With if you're a Miraidon ground type, okay, I have Ho-Oh. If you're a water type, I have to switch it into Miraidon. There's the electric typing. They have perfect type synergy.
Can't believe we're saying it, but yeah.
Yeah, this team is amazing, and Adi himself, really brought this team to its ceiling. He got it to the 9th place, and it has everything. It has Tailwind, it has bulk, it has the typing. I can go on and on. And you can bring Grimmsnarl, Iron Hands. There's so many ways you can use this team, and it really is like the Arubega team in one, because now that Whimsicott Ogerpon slot is condensed into a Ho-Oh. And you can do so many more things. I think this pairing is absolutely gross. I think we've just scratched the surface with it. And I'm super excited to see what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, I think like you said here, like this can be the ground slot here. This is like our rental, with Grimmsnarl, Screens, Ursh, Furrygraph, and Iron Hands here. But like you said, like Ho-Oh and Miraidon just together looking pretty good. I can't believe we're saying that, right? I'm surprised like nobody like tried regular Kanto Moltres Miraidon back in like Regulation G. Like, why didn't that work there? I guess because not too many people were using like Zamazenta Koraidon teams, right? And that's what made Ho come out to play a little bit, is because there was more Koraidon Zamazentas out. But if those two don't come out to play, I don't think Ho comes out to play.
Yeah, I think that Ho-Oh is a great second restricted. That's what it really thrives in, because it gets that supportive side while also doing damage and recovering HP, setting up tailwinds. Having flying damage in this meta is honestly like you're not seeing it right now. So when I see all of these things combined, it just makes me realize like this team has something on its hands. And the Guts Bear version is also just absolutely cracked. It's
earthquake next to a flying type.
Yes, dude. Yes. It has a lot of options. It's a lot of bulk, a lot of damage, a lot of control. And if you're not going to respect this team, you're going to get cooked by it. So please respect this team. And I think this pairing. Oh, you have it in S? You have it in S?
I'm thinking about it. Like it was either like high A or like low S. I'm just not sure yet. I think A is correct.
Yeah, I think it's low A or high S. I also just with you there. I think this team deserves a lot of credit. Again, I don't know how great it'll continue to go, but I'm gonna be honest. I might actually feel comfortable putting it in that S tier. Like,
I don't know. Like, am I gonna hurt feelings for people? If I don't put Ho-Oh in an S tier, I think are you really, Clover? Are you really gonna go by one regional and just put this thing up there? Like, yo, listen, it just looks good right now. As of today, where are we? May 9th. It's close. Like, if we can put Pago's Calyrex in there, can we put Miraidon Ho-Oh in there? That's the question.
Yeah, and I don't know how consistent it can be for a long time, but I know right now it's really damn good. I'm curious. I'm gonna let you pick S or A because I'm a fan of either or.
Yeah, I mean you're still getting like the strong Miraidon pieces overall. So like, man, I put it in a. I really want to there's like my heart really wants to, but my brain is telling me A, right? But my heart is telling me S. Okay, it's tough. I'm not really sure. I think it's just as good as these guys. Okay, and I don't
Yeah,
know if it's better than this. I don't know.
comfortable.
It's
Like,
close.
yeah, and I think again, like those top two pairings, those top two pairs were in that top 8, right? And I think that Ho just missed out, and that could be representative to what this tier list is, right? Like, is Ho a top 8 Pokemon, top 8 restricted pairing in these regionals? I don't know, but I know it's right in that next group, and I love this. I think we placed it in the right spot.
Yeah, I think A is like okay for now. You could get into the S tier for sure, like at any day now. But I think this is where we want it for what it's
Yeah,
supposed to do. All right,
I think so.
all right. Another wide guard user here with Koraidon, not Lunala but Zamazenta.
Ooh, this is an interesting
Interesting
one.
one, right? Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
okay.
like it makes some sense. They're both good individually, but it's like how good are they individually? You know what I mean? Like, do we really know how good this pairing kind of is or can be? I personally don't know. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, what do you think about this pairing?
Yeah, I mean you can get wide guard, of course, which is gonna help you into like the Ice Rider matchup a little bit.
For,
But
for
after that, like again, if I just slap on the standard stuff here with Chiyu, Fluttermane, and some Tailwind user, I don't know if like I could probably maybe get a little bit more mileage with Lunala, right? Because that strong fighting coverage with that ghost type makes more sense as opposed to like fighting
yes,
dragon, fighting steel. So like, but I can okay if you have these two, I think you could definitely do like a Chen Pao here,
I agree.
right?
Chin, yeah, I think Chin Pao fits on this team as well. I think
Yeah.
I think Lungus can weirdly fit in here with a team like this because when you look at Koraidon and Zamazenta, right, the first thing I think of is you know Calyrex Shadow is interesting into it. I think that Miraidon it doesn't have any glaring weaknesses. I'll say that off the bat.
Yeah.
There are no glaring weaknesses, but they don't synergize perfectly either, right? So honestly, I'm not hating on this duo because I'm looking at it. I'm trying to think what the weaknesses are. I don't see too many crazy weaknesses. The low B feels like again it's underexplored, and we don't know how it's gonna do. So I think this kind of style this makes sense. I think when
Yeah,
you have the right,
honestly, right now, yeah, like our low B tier looks like underexplored duos. On paper, they could be good. Koraidon, Zamazenta, Lunala, or even Kyogre CSR. Like on paper, like there is some sense to them. But how do you flesh out the rest of your squad is
yeah,
the big question
I
mark.
think a
Like
lot of
there's partners that you could put on there, but then when you do that, you're see like, well, why not just use like this partner, this restricted instead of this restricted, right? If you're gonna go with those partners, right? So that's like the main thing that I'm looking at the moment.
yeah, I think what's really telling me is like these pairings are almost defined by how much it enables their partners to thrive, right?
Yeah.
And you can be two individual pieces that look good on paper or that sound like they're not affecting them negatively, but to be a top tier partnership, you have to affect each other positively and then also have good partners that are enabled or that enable yourself. I think with this duo, like you don't really know what the partners would be, right? Like maybe Tornadus, maybe Raging Bolt, maybe Iron Hands. Like we really don't know, but it lacks that special attacking partner that you really want. And maybe it's Chi-Yu. I think it has to be probably Chi-Yu and Fluttermane. But I like it. I think it's a good spot for it.
Yeah. I think low B is correct. I think we're gonna need to explore just a little bit more there. Okay. How about uh yeah, we'll do one more before we take a little short break here. How about the double weather duo Groudon and Kyogre in one
Ooh,
team?
okay, okay. Let's see. Let's think about this for a sec. D tier.
That's all you really gotta say. Look, what wait a minute, Cole. What about like the dual sun mode? What about like Tornadus and like double weather with rain dance? Like, bro, this is not Dynamax, man. There was a time where like, okay, maybe there's some consideration. Even then, like remember those dual sun teams with like Torkoal, Venusaur, Groudon, Kyogre, and like
Oh,
Tornadus,
I
Dynamax
remember.
era.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
I was like, yeah, but this is not. This is a different time there. I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
right now. We're definitely in a new time right now, for sure.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna take like a little short break here, but let me get some water and then we'll continue with the rest of what we got left there. All right. So now, well, here we go. We got another weather or the Hoenn pairing again. Not just crowd on here. How about Kyogre Rayquaza? Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think, this was Wolfie in 2016, he'd
Yeah.
probably love it. But unfortunately, this is a decade later, and this goes right next down to Groud. It's so sad watching Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza be at the bottom, but that's just where they deserve to be.
It's a little unfortunate, you know. But we got an improvement coming in. With the next one. How about Kyogre and Zamazenta? Ooh.
Ooh, see, this has potential. I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be honest.
it does.
The natural synergy is perfect. I think you throw on Urshifu and Shinpao water right away.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
I
just
you
like
put on
this.
and you put on a Mungus and Tornadus, and you have a team.
Yeah,
Like, I'm gonna be honest,
this is
that's
this is exactly what you got to do. Like just Tailwind and then just give me like some Trick Room on here. Like if this was like Zacian, okay, you know that has worked already. But then now you have Zamazenta. Now you got Wide Guard, right? And that's pretty cool too.
it has everything. I think that like you have Tailwind, you have Redirection, you have so many different options here. You have damage, special damage, spread damage. You have Urshifu damage, which is its own thing in its own world.
Yeah.
Um, And I think what makes it cool is that Zamazenta really protects Kyogre from CSR. You have a pretty good Terapagos matchup here. I think even if Koraidon it comes to the battle, a well played Kyogre and Shinpao also does really well. Tornadus is the best partner because you get to control manual rain, which I really like. So Koraidon, let's say they lead Koraidon and I don't know, Brute Bonnet, or Koraidon and Lunala. Well, and you lead Kyogre, or let's say you lead Kyogre, they lead something else, and they bring in they bring in their Koraidon. You have that manual rain. I think that they really help each other because they're both really bulky too. Like it commands resources to get rid of them. And a lot of times you're gonna win those damage trades. Dude, even like Grimmsnarl in a weird version could work with this kind of team because they're already so bulky. Enable them. That Thunder Wave support is really strong. I don't know. I think it's unexplored. I think this six looks like a very good six. And I think that, you know, I don't know I don't know. How do you feel? You want to put it up that high? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I do. You know, just like this five is already like proven, especially from like the online tours. We haven't. I don't think we saw it in Milwaukee. I don't think so. But that being said, this five, with some Tailwind user, could be Tornadoes, could be Roaring Moon. Those were like the more popular ones. Just straight off like be like testing wise. It's definitely better than like C tier. I also think because it has like proven results already. I'm going to put it like above low B, whereas like these guys are like a little bit more unexplored. I think it's correct, like within the high B tier. I don't think it's A, but I do think it's at least high B.
Would you rather have CSR and Kyogre or Zama and Kyogre? I'm curious your thoughts.
CSR. Wait,
Like
say
that,
that again.
that Calyrex Shadow Rider at the top of low B, and that, the Kyogre Zamazenta. Which pairing would you think you'd rather have?
Hmm.
Because I think they both have proven results. They both play completely differently. And I don't know. Like, I think they're very similar, in my opinion, in what they do. Uh,
It's
yeah, I
close.
think, yeah, it's close. I think, like, again, if there was that middle B tier, they'd be right next to each other on that. I think Kyogre is the definition of B. Like, look at it. Look at where it's placed.
And the
Like, all
B.
three, yeah, like right in the middle of low, high B and high, low B. Um, so yeah, I think I'm okay with where you have it. I think, again, underexplored. I think where it has to really thrive is dealing with Amoonguss seems tough for this pairing.
Oh, that's
You have to
true.
really control the Amoonguss, and you also have to really make sure you can get damaged fast because you can get outpaced like quite a bit with this team because you're not the fastest, but you're not the slowest. So you're always moving second in a way, which I think is interesting.
That's true. Like again, I don't. It's somewhere here with like high B or low B. Like you know. maybe it's better than like some of these, but maybe the others are still a little bit better. I'm
Yeah, yeah. I'm okay with where you have it. I think if we're gonna have it there, I think I would want to see that CSR Kyogre join up next to it.
yeah. If you're gonna do that, then it has to go to it, right?
They're too similar in my opinion. Like they are. I think
I'm
they're
gonna
quite
I'm gonna
similar.
do I'm gonna do it like this. All right, how about this? We'll put it ahead of it, but
Yeah,
still in the low B.
I like that. I
We'll
like.
put it a high low B.
Yeah,
A
and,
high
and
low B.
yeah, and I think what makes Calyrex Ice like stand out is that you get speed control, right? So like, I think that this makes sense. I like this.
Yeah. All right. How about all right, anything Eternatus here. We got Lunala Eternatus. Who the heck was using Lunala Eternatus? Ryan, where'd you see this pairing?
Yeah, weird to see this pairing. Um, but this is one of those pairings where if Michael Zhang made a team with this, I'm sure there'd be a way it could do something. So, like, in my opinion, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say don't use weirdly enough. I don't know why. It feels like it could be very niche in some
I
kind of like stally way, right? Because you have Shadow Shield, you have
I
Pressure,
know why. Yeah.
you
Oh,
have
okay.
Toxic.
Okay. I see the theory. Okay. The idea is like you get a wide guard user next to Eternatus, which is like weak to expanding force and weak to glacial lands, right? That's the
Yeah,
thought
right?
process.
Yeah, and the typings weirdly like go together. Um,
Oh, it's Lunala. Oops.
Yeah, I don't really again, it's a very interesting duo. Like, I think they're both very bulky. You cannot remove them instantly. And they both, I think with like a Mungus support or some kind of recovery, like maybe Rillaboom, like there's something that could be had here. Again, I don't know what that would be. I'm not in that team building, lab right now to where I can make it happen. I am sure that with some play, it can be niche. Like
Yeah.
I would rather play with that than Zacian and Calyrex, in my opinion. Like
Yeah, there's
that is
some potential there. Like
yeah.
if you're gonna do this, like are we like committed to like cosmic power stuff, or are we doing something crazy like we're nuking with this Eternatus and letting the zombie like more supportive? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Even like a Grimmsnarl on that team. Like like Meteor Beam Lunala with Wide Guard. Maybe you have like Specs Eternatus. Like it gets so many different. You never know. I think like I'll call it niche. I'm comfortable putting it in that niche tier
Yeah, for sure. I think you could do something with it, but what that something is going to be up to you. All
for
right,
sure.
how about an old sword shield juggernaut, Lunala and Groudon?
The OG Lunadon V1.
Yeah,
Uh,
from Sun and
yeah,
Moon stuff.
yeah. Seriously, I think again, um,
I want to put
in
it
theory,
right there.
yeah, I think C is the perfect spot. I don't think that there's too much to say. It's like the bootleg version of Koraidon Lunala. It does its job. It has the same exact partners, but it's a little less consistent, a little less control, a little less damage, and that's what I think of it right away.
Better trick room mode, ground typing could be pretty good into like Miraidon, but then you're trading for a Calyrex Ice Rider weakness there. And the Tornadus Ursh teams could do something, and now Ho could do something into the ground. Groudon can't hit Ho. Oddly
Yeah,
enough.
yes, literally, unless you have Rock Slide, Assault Vest, or something crazy.
Yeah. All right. Now we got the big one here, Koraidon Lunala.
Yeah, this is S tier, man.
Yeah,
Like,
for
I'm gonna
sure.
be honest. I think that I prepared intensely for this pairing. I think that I played 4 of these in my run. Let me check real quick. In my run at Milwaukee VGC Regionals, I actually lost to this pairing one time. I played it once. I played it twice. I played it. Okay, so I played it 2 times,
Mhm.
and then I played Calyrex Shadow. Okay, I played a lot of this version of the team. Yeah, this is the team I lost to. They had Incineroar over Chiyu, and he finished 7-4 in day 2. But yeah, the team is great. The amount of partners, again, you have Trick Room with a fast mode. You have Wide Guard support to protect Koraidon from that Dazzling Gleam, from that Glacial Lance. You have Trick Room for your Ursaluna. You have that Wide Guard plus Earthquake, Ursaluna Guts Bear. The
Yeah.
team is just good. The
Yeah.
team is, if you're a good player and you're playing well, you will always have a way to win. And that's what this team does. And it's a good team.
Yeah, like you could do like Fluttermane Chiyu variant, or you could do like the Instant Amoonguss Ursaluna variant. Like you're just going with this double Luna core with like Instant Amoonguss Ursaluna Lunala, like back in classic Reg G stuff. Like you could just use these four, and then Koraidon comes in and brings his little ghost friend with him. Or
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Wolf Link is using this pairing. It's a good pairing. Let's just say that. Like
Oh yeah, wait, was this his 6? No, he had a Raging Bull.
Raging Bolt over the Ursaluna Guts Bear.
Right.
And again, Wolf is the GOAT of this
Colin
game. He went 7-1 in day one, got to top cut and lost to James Evans in top 32. Even though Wolf is my son, I did son him at Toronto. Great is my icon. He's still the GOAT. And if he's gonna use this team and this pairing, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, like of course, it's very strong. There's lots of different partners you could use. Like I just showed you like 2 builds, but you can do like more Indeedee stuff. You could do Raging Bolt can come onto these teams like we said. Oh, even the Ogre Pawns. A lot of the partners are fine. Like depending on how you want to play it. I've seen Ditto on some of these pairings as well. Just copy a Calyrex, right? Copy another restricted. Copy a Prankster Mon. Like okay, now you got Tailwind. But this is like pretty standard just in terms of like how you want to play it for sure. I think S tier is correct here.
Exactly. The quality of players running it actually had only none in the top 8, but number 12 had it. 13, Colin Higher, the Battle Room played it.
Battle Room, bro.
Another number 19th place, Lewis Millich played it. It was everywhere in the top 32. Gene Lopez, the 28th, like so many players played it. It wasn't great enough to win, but it was great enough to go very far by tons. I think it was the highest usage in the top 32 as a pairing.
This team was like, you got to see it a lot in Victory Roads, leading into this.
Yes, it's an amazing duo. That's just what it is.
All right, we got another one coming up here. How about Lunala Kyogre?
Yeah. Again, I think it's one of these weird Kyogre middle of the pack low B pairings, right? Like, I'm sure it's good. I'm sure there's a use case. I feel like it's probably the worst out of the group. But again, yeah, you can go Tail Room. I'm seeing, Clover. I see you love this Indeedee, man. I'm seeing you love this Indeedee.
Because yeah, so like I like Indeedee on these Kyogre teams just because you're weak to like Rillaboom, Raging Bolt stuff. And you could just pop in Indeedee and change Miraidon terrain too while you're at it. And then now you give your Lunala expanding force. So you could just do this. And then this could even be like the Shadow Rider at the end of the day. And then now like some other slot filler here, maybe an Ursaluna, maybe something else. But, we did see this in Milwaukee. I don't think you saw it, but there were 2 7-4 teams in Milwaukee with this duo.
Let me look at. Oh yeah, yes, there were. So
I don't know the other one. I think it was like more standard, like instant, like Rillaboom stuff. I don't remember if they even had like Tailwind.
Yeah, I see. Rich Cuddy went 7-4 with this. He had that hyper offense, Tailwind, Tail Room with Indeedee, Guts Bear. I am seeing that. I definitely am seeing that.
Oh, I have an idea.
To even run this team, yeah, this is what I was going to tell you. I think
you could do this. And then maybe one of these guys be Calm Mind.
Yeah, I think you throw these 4 on, you throw Amoonguss on, you throw Grimmsnarl on, and you have a team.
Yeah, do this, and then now like one of these guys be Calm Mind. How about this guy be like Wyguard and this guy be the Calm Mind user?
You can have Calm Mind, you can have Grassy Seed, you can have Leftovers.
Oh, that's annoying.
You can have Assault Vest. There's so many things, so many ways you can play this kind of team. Again, I don't know if it's oppressive and dominating and threatening. But it's you have to manage it precisely, and I think it's at the bottom of the Kyogre pairings personally, but I think it's right in that group of that cluster of 4. I think it's a good group.
Yeah, somewhere here, right? Like within this combo, and
I think Kyogre is waiting to find its partner, and I think it's one of these 4.
Okay, now that being said, while we're at it, just because we're on the topic of Ogre, I'm gonna move the other 2 Ogre pairs up here a little bit just to stay consistent within the team. Okay, how about this one? Miraidon and Kyogre.
I think again, like this is one of those pairings where we don't know that it's bad. I think it again protects Kyogre from Rillaboom. It really helps it with a lot of his electric type weaknesses. It helps it with grass weaknesses. It also protects us from Amoonguss getting slept. I
Yeah.
I don't know the potential of this team, but I don't think it's a bad one. Like for
Hear me
all we
out.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
Oh,
letting you. Oh, what was
yeah.
that?
Wait,
I
wait.
was seeing.
No, 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 no. Sorry, sorry. Like this is the one. Like, hear me out. Look, Miraidon, Farigaf, Iron Hands. Right. You still get that Indeedee effect, right, where you get to stop priority in against Kyogre. Okay, and then you get the Whims and you get the Water Ursh. Congratulations,
Yeah,
you have a Miraidon Kyogre team.
dude, not mad at this either. And you can even run like really slow Kyogre that can just out of nowhere. You have it in Trick Room next to Farigirafs, and you're just spamming Helping Hand, either Origin Pulse or Water Spouts. Like Kyogre's one of those cool Pokemon where in a unique team, you never know what speed tier it's gonna be in. It can be max speed 156, timid, but you can also run zero speed, special attacking nature, or run it modest. Like Kyogre is a cool team. Miraidon does enable it because of its grass weaknesses and terrain and spore and whatnot. So, in my opinion, like, I think this is not a bad partner for it. I think that someone creative can probably cook with this and make it a cool team.
Yeah, I'm just remember like from NAIC, like remember Nails, like he had like an Iron Hands on his Kyogre team here, and then now you're just adding like the Miraidon buddies here. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this could work to a certain degree, right? But it's better than some of these C tier dudes, that's for sure.
I think it's definitely in the B tier. I'm gonna be honest. I think that it's low B. I think it's higher than I probably put it like right there. Like I honestly have just as it's right if Lunala, I mean not Lunala, if CSR and Kyogre had a twin, it'd be the Miraidon Kyogre. I think it's a very similar. I think it actually pairs better with I actually would put it above the Zamazenta version too, to
Ooh,
my personal opinion.
second
Because
best pairing, yeah.
it helps with Kyogre's weaknesses, grass and spore and Rillaboom, and even like Koraidon, it hits it with that super effective dazzling gleam you could run it with.
I
Um,
Yeah, I think now, just with so much more Koraidon and Ho teams running, I think now Kyogre can find some way to come back a little bit, if someone is willing to explore the idea.
yeah, if you're committed to Kyogre, you have a lot of choices. You just gotta idle fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you can play this thing like fast or slow, and I think it works on something like this for sure, without a doubt. And now the last Kyogre pairing, the one that people thought would be like pretty cool and place well, the Swordfish duo.
Yeah. So surprisingly, I heard about some people struggling with it. I know Marcus Dion lost his winning in to Kyogre Organization. It's a duo that, the wrong matchup at the wrong time, and you can get screwed over by it. I know I see one in 84th place.
Yeah.
I see one in 87th place. I see one in 96th place. I see one again in 100th. Like it will make you could get to day 2 with this team. But the question is, can you win with this team? I personally think it is probably the first or second best partner. As much as we like to hate on this duo, it's semi-decent for a reason. Do I think it's viable and good? I don't know. I don't think it's that good. I think it probably owns the low B tier. Maybe even good viable. Again, I'm curious to hear what because it made day 2.
Yeah.
It is probably good. It probably is viable. I'm actually comfortable putting it over there.
Yeah, like either like definitely again like within this low B tier category. But
IB.
how good are we like if we're gonna put this here, okay, here's the argument. If we're gonna put this here, like is this any better than some of these other guys down here? That's the main
Yeah, and
question that we're asking.
it is. I think it is. I think that, you know, this pairing and the Kyogre Cali Ice pairing synergize very well.
Yeah.
They have day 2 results in our first regulationI regional. And in online tournaments, people have found the way to make it work. I don't think it's great. I think it's good, but that's what this is. This is good and this is viable. And I think that's high B.
Yeah, I think that this is as far as like this kind of build, or even like instead of Instant where you have Chen Pao, like this kind of build will get you into a day 2 region. May not win you a regional, okay? I don't know how far you can get, but you can definitely for sure make a day 2. And if this is a team, like would I give this to a beginner? Absolutely. You have a lot of basic ideas, just with Kyogre Tornadus alone, along with Ursh and Chen Pao, and then Zacian just comes in and you could use it as a cleaner.
Yeah, no, what I'll say about Zacian is that it never feels good when you use it, but it's always threatening when you play against it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And Kyogre makes Zacian as active as it can possibly be. You know, it protects it from a lot of its weaknesses like fire, like ground. It does that damage back. And if you're so worried about Zacian, Kyogre, Urshifu, and Tornadus can just roll your entire team. And it's an underrated archetype. I think again, we have multiple day 2 people who've done it with this. So yeah, I'm putting respect on Zacian, Kyogre's name, Swordfish, as we like to call it in OG days. For my second ever regional, I used this pairing. And yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you hit your play roughs and don't miss. Of
Yeah,
course.
please. Yeah, seriously.
All right. Or oh, well, no, I was gonna say like you could do VJ suit and just go like regularization with.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get there soon, I think, right?
Oh man, no, we're not. Are we? I don't think
No,
so.
not yet. Not yet. We still have a while to go.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. We got Lunala Terapagos.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna lie, not the biggest fan. I think they're
Calyrex
both.
Terapagos. How about Lunala Terapagos? Yeah. Go ahead.
I think they're both a little. They both are too much of the same. They both play very slow. They don't really protect each other from anything in particular. You know, Calyrex Shadow Rider. I don't know. I just don't. I don't see a lot of weaknesses, but I don't see a lot of strengths. And I think it's just not a great pair. I think it's C. Yeah, I think it's C. That feels pretty safe.
Yeah. Wide guard support. All right. Cool. What are you wide guarding against? It's not really weak to any of the special attacking stuff. Like and you could do like they both want to do like Calm Mind stuff. It's interesting. They both could do Meteor Beam, but I don't know. I don't see like the formula there. Like okay, I see 2 special attacking restricteds. They're both very slow. One could be, I guess, set up Trick Room for the other, but
I think with
it's
Rillaboom and Incineroar, it could be a good core. I think it's probably the top of this tier. I think it's probably at the top of the C tier. I also think that we can move that Calyrex Groudon back a little bit, to maybe that like Calyrex Shadow Zacian area, around there, yeah, somewhere around there. Niche feels good. Cause I think like if a really good balance player brought those 2 pairings with Rillaboom, Incin, Amoonguss, Urshifu, I'm sure they could do well. So I think it's a pretty good pairing.
Yeah, I think C tier is correct. I think the Pagos CSR is a much better pairing, especially like one is more faster than the other. You have a little bit more variance and flexibility with that kind of idea here.
Wisp and Pollen Puff and Disable, a lot of tools that make it very supportive but offensive at the same time.
All right, how about another Zacian idea? We got Zacian Lunala.
Yeah, just put it. I don't know. Put it in like the bottom of C, middle of D. I don't think it has a lot of. I don't see a lot of potential here at all, to be honest.
Yeah, the Incin looks great here into both of these. To some extent.
That's Incineroar food if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, Chi-Yu as well. You got Dark Pulse, Snarls, and whatnot, and heat. Fire types.
You can just sit there and Will-O-Wisp and Struggle Bug and Fiery Dance. Same thing.
Yeah, not amazing. Not god awful, but not good either. Okay, here. How about this one? We got Lunala. What's up?
We got Wide Guard University.
Oh yeah. We got double wide guard here. Lunala and Zamazenta.
I think it sits right next to that Terapagos Lunala, in my opinion.
Yeah, more or less, right? Just somewhere. Somewhere here. It could be okay.
Over Groudon, yeah, somewhere like right there. I think it's better than. It's worse than Calyrex Ice and Zama, but it's better than Calyrex Shadow and Ground. I think they don't really help each other out a lot, and they both just sit there as independents. Don't love it.
Zom can wide guard for the Astro Barrages, I guess, right? But at that point, okay, sure. I think maybe like if you just do like Incin, Rillaboom, Calm Mind, Lunala, and then like wide guard Zamazenta, okay, sure, that works. But
yeah. If you want to come into the setup on Lunala, it's possible. It's a possible niche move. Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, now we've got our favorite YouTube content pairing. We've got Koraidon and Miraidon.
Oh, the Pokemon creators wish this was S tier, but unfortunately, it's not. This is Calyrex food if I've ever seen it. Yeah, throw it in the D tier.
Oh man, Jesus, both of them. Like, oh man, they're so good individually, but we're throwing them in the D tier. How about the other Sun guy? How about Miraidon Groudon?
Yeah, I think like maybe C tier. Like maybe bot because I think like they synergize a little bit better with like spread moves and
Yeah.
whatnot. But I don't see anything special here. It's not really worth talking about, in my
See,
opinion.
Calyrex Ice Rider looks, he's looking at it. These guys like, oh, double ice weakness. Hey,
Yeah, yeah,
no
seriously.
wide guard support. All right, sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's Glacial Lance food if I've ever seen it, right? Glacial Lance food,
Yeah,
it's Aurora Assault Vest. There, it's just even Calyrex Shadow has a good time with these guys.
yeah. All right, now this next one, you're looking at the 6 gifs at the bottom of our stream here, the Lunala Miraidon pairing.
Oof,
Okay, what do you?
I'm having PTSD, man. This is S tier, man. Like,
It is, yeah. If this is almost my favorite pairing besides the Miraidon Calyrex. I love this duo too.
yeah,
I just maybe a little bit more than the other one, but I think it's just a tie between me, like which one I like more. But yeah, what do you have? What do you have to say about these guys?
I have a lot to say about this duo. I think that I lost to this duo in top 8 to the eventual winner in Andrew
Andrew
Ding.
Ding, right? Yeah.
And what I will say about this team is that this pairing is that I don't think Lunala is actually a better pairing or fit than Calyrex Ice, but I think what it allows you to do with its partners is very interesting, right? Like into the mirror, into Calyrex Ice, the mirror, it's just so much better, right? Because you have super effective Moonblast and Moongeist Beam into that Calyrex Ice and Miraidon,
Mhm.
and it has Wide Guard, it has Trick Room. Like it does the same things that Calyrex Ice does, slightly worse. But in the mirror, it really is a lot better. It also enables Ursaluna Guts Bear as well with that Wide Guard Earthquake spam with Iron Hands. Yeah, Andrew Ding had Grimmsnarl, Incineroar, and Guts Bear as the rest of his team.
Yeah, and it's good for a reason. I think there's like a couple builds that people have had success with. Like this, at least you start with these three, and then you can play something like this. We also saw this in Milwaukee. Like you could do the Urshifu single strike now, which I think it could pick up a little bit more now that there's so much more Grimmsnarl and stuff. And then they had Life Orb Entei into this last slot over here. What do you think of Entei on Miraidon teams?
I think it's underexplored. Like in my opinion, I don't think it's probably the optimal choice, personally speaking. But it wins a lot of damage trades, right? Like choice band or assault vest. You're very comfortable. It's always gonna be a threat on the field. You can't fake it out. You can't fake out Lunala. You can't fake out Entei. Whimsicott, Covert, or Cloak. It's a good Pokemon. Do I think it's the best partner? I don't know. Personally, I don't think so. I think Entei is a little bit of an overrated Pokemon. Because it really benefits from like Pokemon like Chien-Pao enabling it, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
for
how I
sure.
think about it. But I think that this pairing alone is a very bulky pairing, very supportive, and into a lot of what else is good, it feels very strong. Like Lunala feels like the best support because it gets that electric seed, and then it can just sit there and just eat hits and do damage back and set up Trick Room. And it was so hard. It was so hard for me to deal with. I got to game 3, but it's
Yeah,
a very strong duo.
I think just like Grimmsnarl screens, with these two is so strong. Like, and they run AV Miraidon with Snarl. For like that's also really good into like mirror stuff. You eat special attacks for breakfast. They had Ban Ursh too, right? And
Choice
the
Band
the,
Urshi.
the ground type along with that. I had a different build. I was using the Sushej build, with Grimmsnarl, Ursh, Iron Hands, Ogerpon. That team also feels very, very good. But when you have Grimmsnarl, then you add the ground bear, okay, then you add Incin like what they were doing, and then you top it off with that Ban Ursh. This is also like a little bit annoying to deal with as well. Maybe even more annoying than the variant that I made the rental for.
Because the problem is to break through Lunala is so hard to do. And if you let Trick Room come up with that Ursaluna, it's just
My guard
there's a
earthquake.
lot of things that can take those hits. Without Rillaboom coming in or like some kind of intimidate, like that Guts Bear is gonna come in and it's gonna wreck your whole day. That's all I swear Ursaluna took out all my Pokemon in both in all my games versus Andrew, all three matches. And
Jesus.
yeah, this thing's a demon in Trick Room, right? It eats because all the Pokemon you bring to deal with Lunala and Miraidon are what? It's like Incineroar, it's Calyrex Ice, it's your own Miraidon, it's Iron Hands, and Ursaluna just eats all of it for breakfast. And the ability to just spam Wide Guard and Earthquake of Guts boosted, Ursaluna Earthquake is just insane. And Yeah, I think that this pairing is not the individual strongest, but in certain matchups, it hits everything hard and does its job by enabling its partners. And now that it's won the regional, there were 4 players, the best team building group of Shili Yang Tang and whoever else he's working with, Carson Confer.
Mhm.
If they're committed to a duo, it's a good duo. And I think it's definitely S tier, commands all the respect in the world. And if you're building a team now, you better have some plans into this team.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the Ursa Luna is a restricted in itself. Sometimes it gives you that third restricted. That's not like a Ditto. Like bro, this thing is strong.
It is a demon. It's a demon. It's that every Pokemon choice band Urshifu, man. Like the team is just loaded. It eats damage so well, and then it does so much damage back. It's a really good team and a really good pairing.
For sure. All right, now we got some hot
Oh,
ideas here. We got
no.
we got the Palkias and the Miraidons, bro. I think this is pretty easy where we're gonna put these. Right? Or
Yep.
we're
You read,
yeah.
you read my mind. You read my
You know,
mind.
you too, man. Yo, we got something maybe later on. Who knows? Like I could see this being the Lunala placement there, setting up Trick Room and whatnot. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Double Dragon Cores, double Fairy Weakness. Why not? Might as well.
Yeah, that Fluttermane's gonna have the time of its life.
Oh, I'm sure. How about how about this one? You got Zacian for the Fluttermane, Zacian Miraidon.
Yeah, I think like Zacian and Miraidon are pretty cool. I think it's C tier though, right? I think they are both very strong individually. They should have guys did together pretty well because I guess Amoonguss can be annoying for Zacian and Incineroar maybe. But they don't partner too well. I think C tier is perfect for it.
Yeah, I think Zacian can at least hit the Ice Rider, which can give Miraidon some issue. But other than that, all right, cool. I got some other ideas. Like I'd rather just use a Koraidon if I really needed a physical restricted. I'm sorry, not Koraidon. The CIR if I wanted a physical restricted next to my Miraidon here. Okay, we got. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Or even a Zama. Oh, do we have that pairing on here?
Miraidon Zom.
I don't think I see it here. Do we?
Wait a minute. Yeah, wait. Yeah, we had it. Miraidon Zama Zenta?
I don't see it.
Hold on a second. Miraidon. Oh, we forgot that pairing. Oh, okay. Well, we could just like add that in, towards the end here.
Yeah.
No worries. All right. How about let's just get through these other couple here. How about Shadow the budget Luna, not even budget Lunala, Dawn Wings and Pagos.
It's trash. Put it in the D tier.
Damn. Yeah. At least put an Ice Rider with that thing. But Pagos, oof. All right. Zacian Pagos.
VJ.
No, but not really, right? Because this is the crowned Zacian.
This is true. Fun fact about VJ Sood. He used Zacian, and he did not use the crowned format. He used the assault vest. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh my goodness.
And he went 7-4.
I know, right? Yo, what was the like going through the minds of like these boys? This guy just comes in, says day 2, like, hey, I made day 2 with these fun mons. I'm good. Y'all can win now.
Yeah, if I lost my winning into this, I would rethink my entire career.
Oh, that's tough.
Bro, he had Zoroark, Cresselia, really cool team. I respect the hell out of him as a player.
For sure, bro.
Insane levels of creativity. And this pairing I don't think is good because it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. Unless you're VJ. Unless you're VJ, I don't want to see that on your team list.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, the you could come up with worse ideas than this one, but I think just for a restricted pairing, if you really wanted to use Zacian, just use any some of the other ones in the B or the C tier.
His Cresselia had Power Gem and Ally Switch. His Terapagos had Sleep Talk and Flamethrower. He was cooking with something we've never even seen before. Fun fact, he had Zoroark Hisui, who has Illusion, but his 2 restricteds both have abilities that act on switching, and Zoroark can't copy those switching abilities. So you can tell if it's the Zoroark right away. but it still works somehow.
Oh man, that's just VJ for you, bro. Okay, before we go with the last day, I just want to take a moment to actually add the Zamazenta Miraidon idea here, so this way we have a little bit more of a complete tier list here. So I'm gonna. All right, we're back here for the detailed end. So Zamazenta Groudon, what wide guard support for Calyrex, I guess.
Yeah, I guess like it makes sense, but the problem is Groudon is just so mid. And if you're gonna use Groudon, you probably just want to use Koraidon. So you just slot it into that C tier.
Yeah, I guess you could find something with it. You know, you enable Sun, but then you make the Zamazenta more weak to Sun as a Steel type. So like, okay, yeah, great. Um, could be okay. Who knows? How about this one? All right, Zamazenta Terapagos.
Yeah. Again, I'm not really seeing the potential here. I think that there's probably some niche case you can use it. Like the problem is that Terapagos' only great partner, in my opinion, is Calyrex Shadow. Like, so until I see otherwise, I think that's where it's gonna be because Zamazenta also has been underwhelming, right? So I don't know. I think again, another great balance core player, I'm sure can use this team well, but I don't see in what world it makes sense. So I think you have it in the perfect spot.
All right, this one you had some Milwaukee results. Zamazenta Miraidon.
Zama Miraidon.
Yep.
I think it's a good team. I actually played against Joseph Ugarte, the top North American player in top 16, who actually inspired a bit of my team when I was creating it. And I think it's a really good pairing. I I think it's very underrated. I think that it does a lot more than you think it can do. And I think if you're not prepared for it, it can roll over your team. The most common pairing I've seen personally has been with Grimmsnarl, Iron Hands, Volcarona, and Ditto with Joe.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what you think about the pairing because it makes sense. Protect Miraidon from Glacial Lance, from Calyrex Shadow, from Terra Starstorm. Hit that pot goes back with that body press. It makes sense in theory why this team is strong.
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of want to just slap on Grimmsnarl screens here, add the Iron Hands. Now we had Chen-Pao for, like, Zamazenta stuff, and then this last slot could be, like, something whatever. Maybe even, like, Ogerpon here, or, again, the Entei. We saw this in Milwaukee. There was a couple variants, like, another Joe at Milwaukee, Joe Kwan. He was using not the Grimmsnarl idea, but he did have Chen-Pao, Iron Hands, and then there was an Entei here again. So, like, you have this classic Reggie combo with like Entei, Chen-Pao, and Zamazenta, right? So you got that core, but then you add Miraidon, Iron Hands, okay, and then that last slot I believe was Furgraph. So what he did was basically you have the Miraidon core and you slap it onto the Zamazenta core, and then this was a 6, and then you get a 3 at Milwaukee. So
Yeah, I think that the Furdraft and Iron Hand just gives you that trickery mode. I think Entei Chen-Pao gives you that offensive hyper offense mode. And I think Zamazenta is more of like that glue guy, protects you from all the spread damage, protects you from a lot of those weird, again, Terapagos, gives you that double fighting coverage. Again, it also just eats hits and wins damage trades well. You can also go Zamazenta and Chen-Pao as a lead and just go for the physical damage. Like, this team has so many flexible leads and flexible modes where it just makes sense why it did well. And that physical special combo, okay, you have Flutter Mane for my Miraidon, well, I have Zamazenta for your Flutter Mane, right? And it just makes sense why this team did well. And I think that the pairing just makes sense. And yeah, Joe Ugarte is using this pairing right now, and he's one of the best players in the world with his Volcarona and Ditto as his last 2 slots.
yeah.
I actually cooked him pretty well in top 16, but we had a great conversation in my vlog afterward. And I think that, he loved in the Miraidon Calyrex Ice Mirror, he never brought his Zamazenta. But the Miraidon version mode of its own with Miraidon, Grim, Hands, Volk, Ditto is also good on its own. Zama's that glue piece that really can bring it together.
Yeah, he I believe it's just like an adaptation of his regulation G team, just adapted for Reg I. I've also seen this other variant where in that last slot instead of the Volcarona, which I don't know if this is like better or not, I have seen the bundle here, like just another special attacker to add onto the squad here. So you have like bundle Miraidon ideas.
I've seen that as well. I have seen that as well, for sure.
Yeah, I've seen this in the online limiteds first. So there, there's some different team comps here. I think it's definitely But I think it could do pretty good. Like, okay, if you're not using the Jovan, that's okay. Like, there's still like the other two that I showed you here. So like, can you put it in A, or do you want to put it in like high B tier? Where are we putting this thing?
Putting it in an A tier. I think
Yeah.
that it is a very respectable pairing, and it's strong. It's genuinely a strong team. It has a lot of flexible partners, which makes it very good. So
Yeah.
I have no problem putting it where we want to put it.
Yeah, I think A is correct there. I think it's definitely a little bit. Actually, it's a lot better than some of these other ones in the B2 here. All right, we're coming up on the final slot here. Terapagos Ho-Oh. So, one thing with Pagos, always a problem is Urshifu and Zamazenta, just the fighting coverage in general. Now you've got Ho-Oh for that. So there is some idea there, but what else do you have to say with this one?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and I don't know how I feel. I think they're both really bulky, and they actually, in a weird way, could work together. I still think it's a C tier combo because I don't know how you're gonna ever win any damage trades personally with this duo. However, it could have some interesting partners. Like I'm thinking, what, like Iron Hands, or like that Rillaboom, Recovery, Amoonguss.
Hmm.
Probably Amoonguss, probably on this. Again, I think whenever you see Terapagos, it has to be with the same kind of partners. It's going to be with those bulky, balanced teams that enable Ho-Oh and Terapagos. I think you have to find a way to set up your Terapagos, right? Like get some burns off with Ho-Oh, get some Tailwind going, and kind of see where you can go from there.
Yeah, I think something like this is like okay, and you might even just add like again Grimmsnarl screens here, and then just kind of call it, and then just last slot is like whatever. But it's not like like on paper by itself. Like okay, you have your Zamazenta matchup, you have your Koraidon matchup, you have your Urshifu idea, where like okay, this is what the Ho is for. But then like, what's your rest of the team looking like? Like okay, you can slap this on here. I guess you can even do like Iron Hands Amoonguss, double regenerator stuff, and then add like Chen Pao Ursh to round it out there. That feels like you want to add like some tailwind there. But in reality, like, okay, you have this, the screens, the redirection. I'm sorry, the double fake out, and this is just like Calm Mind stuff. I think this is like your best bet here. But besides this, like I have seen. Oh, here's another idea, like with Ho-Oh Terapagos that also ironically like works out pretty well here. Is this I think even Dawei was using this in Milwaukee. He had the Sinistra idea here because look, now you got healing with Pagos.
Yeah,
You bring it back to full, and then like again, the
Dawei,
pivoting in and out with like Sinistra Ho-Oh.
yeah, Dawei's team was really cool to see. Um, their team was so uniquely built where most people you don't really know how to approach a team like that. But she had Miraidon Ho-Oh instead
Yeah.
of Trop. So I think like it's hard to do that when it's a completely different style. Um Again, I don't know really how I like again, it's such a weird, complex team, right? Like it's I don't know, like it can work in theory. And I think again that's what makes it niche, right? Um I'm curious like what you think about the archetype in general.
I think Niche is correct there. It's not the worst pairing in the world. There's some ideas that you could definitely do with it,
For
but
sure.
I don't know if I can't really put it in the B tier just because like I don't know what kind of partners you really want to put with this. And I think I
Too
just think
restricted.
the yeah, I just think the CSR is like is a really good buddy with it at the moment.
Because it feels weird, right? Because it's like you have two restricteds, but it feels like you have zero when they're paired together. It's like is what are they really doing on the field? Like I don't know. Like they're not doing damage, right? Like so it's like okay, well you have to slowly whittle them down. Like you probably need like a thunder wave or recovery or something because I don't know how else you're gonna win any damage trades.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Like, okay, the holes like is just meant to like chip things down and like pressure stuff a little bit, add tailwind support. It's like it has secondary restricted syndrome, and so does Pagos, right? I don't. They're not like main restricteds in my opinion. Yeah, I think the both together, like okay, nah. I think there's better
They're both,
cases for both of
yeah,
them.
they're both great as a second. The problem is you don't want them as your second, you want them as your first.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, we've come to the end of the tier list. Okay, we got a lot of Palkia Dialga ideas in the don't use tier, and then we have some underexplored stuff within the low B and the C tier, right? So let's look at the S tier first. So we got Miraidon, we've got Calyrex Ice Rider, okay, Lunala Miraidon, Koraidon Lunala, and Pagos and Calyrex Shadow Rider. That's our S tier, okay, and then
I love it.
yeah, and then after that you have a couple ideas that could be in the S tier. Any day now, like again, Koraidon Calyrex, Miraidon Ho-Oh. We've seen the success already, and then even the Zamazenta ideas, with CSR, which is again that was the duo that was on everyone's radar when the format was first announced, and then Zamazenta Miraidon also, useful there. So some of these could go into the S tier. You just don't know when and what, and depends on the partner and the player. But at the very least, you got your top 8 already right there. And
yeah, in my opinion, these 8 are head and shoulders above the rest. If you are a new player and you want to use a pairing for your first tournament, or a regional, or an NAIC, or even if you're going to Worlds, pick one of these 8.
yeah.
These 8 right now are proven to work. They have proven partners, and they've all had success, whether it's an online or a tournament or a top player using them. I think any of these 8, you cannot go wrong. I'm not going to hate on you for picking one of these 8, because even if it's one of these 8-tier options, it's proven to have worked. Bro, Calyrex and Zamazenta has won so many online tournaments. Ho and Miraidon has been proven to work by multiple players in Milwaukee Regionals. But of course, in that S tier, you're seeing top 8 finishes with all of these teams here. Dylan Kleinvan, myself, Paul Chua, Calyrex Miraidon, all the Andrew Ding, Carson Confer, Luca Paz with this Lunala Miraidon. We've seen Wolf Glick use Lunala Koraidon, and then Jonathan Quinones and other top players like Lorsi and a lot of European players with this Tarapago CSR. Any of these 8 choices, in my opinion, it's these 8 than the rest. If you want to get a chance to win a regional, you're bringing one of these 8 partners.
When we head into Utrecht, heading into in a couple weeks out, I think you'll see a little bit more Pago CSR stuff, for sure.
Absolutely.
It's like the Milwaukee carryover too. Like you'll definitely see everything here over there. It's just like, what do the European players like playing more? And it's always like those balanced teams that, whereas like over here, we like some other ideas versus like just straight instant Rillaboom and whatnot.
Seriously, like you nailed it. Like I would say we like to be a little more creative, a little more offensive, but they are like, we're gonna play chess. We're gonna beat you. We're gonna see whose brain works better in this balance mirror. Then hey, to each their own. Like, I think there's no wrong way to play this game, and Europeans have won, and we have won. And I think that a lot of teams depend on the style of play you're playing, right? Like, any of these 8 teams can do well, and that's what makes this game so great.
Yeah, and then if you want to challenge, like if you're already like an established player and you want to like challenge yourself a little bit, then you can probably start looking to exploring some of these B tier options, like again, like we showed you, Miraidon Kyogre, or like any of these Kyogre variants, because Sun squads are looking pretty good with their Ho-Ohs, but if you got Kyogre coming in, you're gonna have to play some Weather Wars. But if you can find like some of these good partners, then I think you can get some success here. But look at where we put all these Kyogre ideas. They're all smack within the B tier.
Yeah, it shows you that, Kyogre is one of those Pokemon that's just so underexplored. We don't know how good this thing is. We truly have no idea. And that's what makes it interesting, because when I think of Kyogre, it's like, okay, well, it has the potential to be good. We just haven't seen it yet. And I think what this means is that we're waiting to find out who is Kyogre's best partner. We still don't know. And that's what makes it interesting to me, because we're trying to figure that out together.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like Kyogre, Calyrex. I like Kyogreization, even Kyogre Miraidon. But I don't know if those are I don't know which one is better between the 3 of them. I don't know yet. They've all had results, but we'll see what other builds look like moving forward. And then, of course, you got our YouTube content here. Well, not really like YouTube content, but we have like pretty interesting ideas, within the C tier, that if you want to really bang your head against something, if you're bored one day, I guess maybe some of these ideas could enter your team builder. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like
It's the most
I'm looking.
intriguing one here.
Yeah, I think that all of these teams in this low B and C tier, like if you are really on this creative frenzy and you are trying to make something happen, you can do it in theory. Like I'm not gonna hate on it. Like you actually could make something happen here. But it just you don't there's no proven level of success, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think of the ones like I'm looking, I think maybe like Lunala Kyogre is the one that I would try to explore a little bit. I remember I did that back in Sword and Shield, but that was like Dynamax era when I was running like AV Ferrothorn with Max Darkness,
Oh,
dropping Spadef and Kyogre coming in and clicking Water Spout in Trick Room. Oh man, it was a fun time, but
you
those
know,
days are over.
my first regional with Dynamax, when I brought Dialga, I also brought Ferrothorn.
Oh my
And
goodness.
and I was hitting that Max Steel Spike, Max Quake, Leech Seed. I was going for it, man. I'm a Leech Seed guy from day one.
Yeah, speaking of Leech Seed, right, guys, if you don't remember, Darsh had 7th place with Leech Seed Calyrex Ice Rider. Okay.
I did. Fun fact, and the worst part is that now I'm seeing it everywhere on ladder.
You did it, bro. You did that. Okay, so
I know.
let me know when you want to make that team public at some point because someone else is gonna do it and then they're gonna make it public. It's like, oh no, it's
I know.
over.
I'm like, I asked for this, I guess, but that's what you get when you do well. But it's honestly a blessing, like, to have people support the team and want to create their own version and do that exactly. Like it's humbling, it's really cool that, my idea worked, it did a good job. And then now, it's, other people want to use, like, it's a really cool feeling. But
Yeah.
again, it's so annoying, but that's why I like using it. But everyone stop using it against me.
All right, we got Utrecht coming up here. So, make a prediction right now, Darsh. Which pair is going to take Utrecht?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm looking at this right now, and in my opinion, I think that we will see a Calyrex Shadow win Utrecht.
Ooh, a Calyrex Shadow team is going to win Utrecht. Okay.
The question becomes, who's the partner?
Right.
And when I'm thinking about who the partners could be, I think that I think Zamazenta and Calyrex Shadow will come out of nowhere, and the balance wars will come to an end, and we'll see that happen at the end. We're gonna see that. We're gonna see I keep saying Zacian. Zamazenta and Calyrex Shadow are gonna win the Utrecht regionals, in my opinion.
All right. Darsh has called it here right now. Okay. Bubble it in at 1:15 a.m. on the East Coast. Zamazenta Calyrex Shadow is winning Utrecht regionals. Okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, what's that?
What do you think?
I'm gonna pick the other ghost. I think again another Lunala variant is gonna take it as well. But I think specifically this time, let me see Terra Fairy Moonblast Lunala. I think that one can. Well, actually, that was already like on Andrew Ding's team, right? So okay, so that's not really much of a prediction. Okay, I think a different form of Lunala screens is going to win. Okay, I'm not saying it's Miraidon Lunala screens, but some Lunala screens team is going to win.
Honestly, I'm not mad at it at all. I could very easily see that happening. It just makes sense when you think about it. Like, it's a good team for a reason, and that's not a bad call at all. At all.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, folks, we're gonna wrap it up here. Darsh, you want to give some shout outs or tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, for one, man, I really appreciate you having me on the channel. Been watching you for a while now, and I think you really provide some great content from watching you play to build, talking about the meta. It's really good stuff. And I think for myself, I just created a YouTube channel myself. We've been growing pretty well, and I create VGC content, VGC vlogs, and my goal is to help new players to average players. Like, I have never made a top cut in my life. In the last 2 or 3 months, I made two top eights. And I want to help you guys get there. So Dark Type Darsh is my YouTube. My goal that I'm announcing is I'm going to try to qualify for Worlds in the last minute, in the fourth quarter. I'm down 10 points in the fourth. I'm at ranked 133rd. I have no local points. I have still 2 BFLs. Because of my performances, now I have a chance. And I'm going to go for it. I want to show you guys how to do it along the way. So yeah, Dark Type Darsh. You guys can go watch my videos, follow, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, if while you're here, also for Clover Bells, give them some love, like the video, comment your own tier lists, what you guys agree with, disagree with. And drop a subscribe as well.
Oh, we're gonna fight about that. Yeah, I can't wait till the comments for this one. All right, folks, we're gonna get out of here. This video is long enough here. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.